Hello and welcome to Future Simple Friday Live, episode 12. And welcome to 2019. This is our first episode back after the Christmas break. So we're going to do things a little bit differently today. We've slightly tweaked our proposition as a company, so we're going to have a little bit of a chat about that. And we're going to spend a bit more time on our questions. Purely because feedback was that we had some great questions and not enough time for people to actually go into depth and answer them the way that they wanted to. Today we are joined by Gordon Merrilees, who is Head of Entrepreneurship for NatWest, Royal Bank of Scotland, Ulster Bank. Yep. And obviously we have Adam. So I will pass over to Gordon to have a little bit of what you guys do, and we'll take it from there.
So I've worked for the bank for 33 years, just at the end of last year, so a long time, pretty much left straight from school. I know that's not something that happens too much nowadays, but something that I'm really proud of. I started as a cashier in a local branch not that far from here, and I've just worked my way up through the organisation. Today, it's a bit corny, but I probably get the best job I've had in 33 years. I am responsible for the bank's strategy on entrepreneurship, which a big part of is the physical part that everybody can see, touch and feel, is the accelerator hubs that we have. We've got 12 of them across the UK, and we're really determined to make sure we're the kind of best bank for businesses that want to start, scale and succeed. Those 12 are around key city locations across the UK. We support, last year we've supported just under 6,000 entrepreneurs. In the previous 3.5 years we supported about 3,500, so last year was a big year for us, since we brought the running of the programme in-house to the bank. So we're really, our big focus at the moment is how do we scale this, how do we help more and more UK businesses, support them by giving them the three things that we offer, which is the environment, which is the free, fully funded Wi-Fi, presentation, meeting space, hubs that we provide, desk space.
Which you get to see most weeks when we film these.
And the second area is the network. We have a tremendous customer base, a supply chain to die for, most of which entrepreneurs would say it's much more valuable than any money you can give them. So we make that available to them, and we try our best to make sure we make those introductions to help them enter markets and various different things. And the third area is unique to us, which is our coaching proposition, where we've got entrepreneur acceleration managers in each of the hubs, and they spend time coaching the entrepreneurs, holding them to account, challenging them, focusing on that growth mindset, developing them as an entrepreneurial leader, and supporting their team. So that's what we do.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm on the programme, and I'm just going to add that my entrepreneur acceleration manager often ends up being a shoulder to cry on as well, which is quite handy. But she's amazing because she always finds the kind of the right angle. Like, she knows when to challenge you and when to kind of give you a bit of a pat on the back. And almost like a virtual cuddle type thing of it's all right.
It's not easy because actually you get really attached as well. It's hard not to get consumed and involved and emotionally attached either to the person or indeed what they do. It's one of the things I love most. It's what makes your job so get so much variety, is that you just meet so many different interests and people and businesses.
Ideas that come through.
It's amazing.
It's huge. I remember my acceleration week, the 2 days that you have at the beginning. And listening to everyone's pitches of all the different businesses and all of the amazing business ideas and the problems that they were solving. It's crazy.
It's interesting actually. That's been a great thing for us because one of the things that we never foresaw is that some of our entrepreneurs would help us solve some of our own corporate pain points. We never set out to do that on day one, and that's a big feature now for us. And we've actually, in the last 18 months, we've gone to proof of concept pilot on about 12 ideas, innovations that have come through from the hubs, and we've actually commercially contracted or partnered with about 7.
Wow.
So we've signed a contract as a bank, and that's huge for an entrepreneur to partner with someone like
it's such a huge
Royal Bank or NatWest or
and because obviously you've now got the fintech proposition as well, haven't you?
That's a biggie for us. Clearly that's our bread and butter. It's what we're all about,
and the support for a business that is starting out in that, to be able to reach into such a big banking entity with a fintech idea and have those touch points is priceless, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if you saw the news yesterday or even first thing this morning, we've just invested in a business called Loot as a bank. So we've now got a 25% market share, and it's a fintech business, and it's a really good example of startups have the innovation but find it hard to scale. But corporates struggle with that innovation and that mindset, but they have the scale.
That was one of the things.
If you put them together, it's a bit of a match made in heaven.
It was one of the things that I was that was on our list for top facts this week. There's the World Economic Institute is saying that SMEs make the best partnerships for enterprises for that same reason, because they're small, they're innovative, they're thinking of all these new ideas and coming up with these new concepts and have that agileness to be able to push it through. That enterprises have processes and structures.
You're right.
It's difficult.
No, nimble, agile, innovative, all the things that entrepreneurs display in terms of their characteristics, but big corporates find it hard to do.
So it was an article in I think it was yesterday, World Economic Institute. So it's fantastic. So we love it, obviously.
It's nice to do that with you. It's nice to have this conversation about. You can talk a lot about what the benefit of what you receive,
the benefit from it,
and what your experience has been. So that's good.
Yeah, because for us, that network piece for us is huge. But being able to bounce the ideas off the other entrepreneurs as well. So that's one of the things we've slightly shifted our proposition. We've always been a marketing consultancy focused on strategy and making sure that you have that kind of foundation and that strategy in place to have great marketing and have great concepts and be showing and demonstrating your company to the best that you can. And a lot of that is in the foundation and is in the strategy. And when you look at marketing campaigns or even just marketing tactics that are falling down, it's because they don't have a strong strategy to pick them up. So that's the area that we always focus on, and we've always kind of led with that. And so from being able to discuss with so many different businesses what marketing means to them and what strategy means to them, because strategy is one of these words that can go into the jargon land very easily, as to what actually a strategy is, how people embrace that. But to us, we obviously Future Simple, we like to keep things as simple as possible. So for us, strategy is literally the how. How are you going to get to that goal? It isn't the goal. It isn't the challenge. It isn't the vision. It's how are you going to get.
But it's an enabler towards that vision of that big. And
there's a great quote that a vision without a strategy is just an illusion. Because you can't get to it without the how.
It's interesting. We've started in the last couple of years trying to keep it really simple. And therefore, as a result of that, we focus on. So we have our vision, which, as I said earlier, is to become the best bank, to support entrepreneurs that want to start, scale, and succeed. But actually, we've got what we call our big five. So our big five is our big five goals, and everything has to fit under these big five goals. And one of the areas I'm challenging myself and my team on is, if it really be disciplined this year. If it doesn't fit under one of the big five, actually, is it right to do it?
That's exactly.
Is it right to spend the money? Is it right to invest the resource? Is it right to invest the time? Or is it just a distraction actually, and you should really be focused on the other areas that will drive those big five?
That's exactly what.
Not easy to do.
It's not.
And I'm actually probably one of the
and it's really hard to do it yourselves. That's one of the things that because we do it for our clients. Is we work on planning sheets where we've got kind of rule out clauses where you write down as many tactics and possible things that you could do as you want, but then how are you going to measure it? Who's going to do it? When are you going to be able to do it? And is it actually going to go towards your objective or your goal? And if it doesn't fit any of those, take it out. And it's much harder to do for yourself. Internally. Which is why we do it for our clients.
That's good.
But that's one of the things that we are really adamant about. Like, if it doesn't achieve an objective, take it out. If you can't measure it in some way and prove that it's working, should you be doing it?
I find that we might come to this, but it's a challenge, personal challenge of mine, because you try and be, unfortunately you can't be, but you try your best to be all things to all people, and a good example of that is you can imagine the requests I get. I mean in LinkedIn, Twitter. I mean honestly, I'm not over egging it. No. This is a good example of a request. But you get lots of just random people that you've never met.
I've got this idea.
I'll send you my pitch. I'll send you. Can you have a look at it? And there's a balance, isn't there?
There's a bit in
there's
your
also
heart
there's a right way of saying no or not. It might even just be a not yet.
Yeah.
I can get to you, but I won't get to you for another month. I find that quite personally. My team, challenge me quite a bit on this, because
especially if
I find it hard to say no.
Yeah. If that's your passion and what's in your kind of what drives you to be supportive and helping people.
It is.
It's really hard to say, actually, we've got a process. The process is there for a reason. Start here. It's
funny if people say to me, have you never had an idea, or would you like to do this as a profession? And my answer usually is, and it's a bit cliched, but I'm probably not brave enough to give up the salary check and go it alone, and I've also not come up with a silver bullet idea yet. And sometimes when you hear some of these ideas, you go, why did I not think of that?
Oh, that's so simple. Why have we not done it before?
But I think I've realised in the last 5 years I've been more involved. I've been working in the SME sector for a long time, but more involved specifically with entrepreneurs in the last 4 or 5 years. My job is to empower them and facilitate and lead and enable. Not to be the one who goes and does it, but the one in the background that can be the support.
There's all of those grids of personalities, isn't there? And there's the supporters, the pushers, the stars,
So my job is to be the one that kind of tries to find those connections, tries to make those introductions, tries to give that bit of advice, tries to put those two people together to use that ecosystem, whatever it might be, rather than be the one who goes and does it themselves.
So it's still
I've
needed.
kind of realised that.
It's very needed, obviously. There's so many of us that are in the system. Fantastic. So just to touch on the new proposition for us, we are changing from saying that we will still always be keeping marketing simple, because we're strongly believing in keeping everything as simple as possible. But we're tweaking from that to strategy with a marketing mindset, which admittedly sounds like the most jargony sentence I've ever come out with. And we always say that we're against jargon, but actually when we break it down and think about it, that's what we're trying to deliver and trying to get across to businesses, that actually marketing sometimes isn't a function, it is almost a mindset. It is a bit like the growth mindset of I will get somewhere, I will be able to achieve something. And marketing mindset is like, actually there's a lot of different ways you could be explaining your business and going out and finding different things or sharing bits of knowledge or whatever that way may be. And sometimes it is down to mindset and not going, that's what the advertising bit's for, that's what this is for, and actually embodying that into your company, your culture, you as a person. And that's what we want to help facilitate, or help companies to facilitate, is bringing that strategy so that it has a marketing mindset and it has constantly, so whether it is a customer service team, whether it is a call centre, whether it is an engineer going out on a call, any of these things, they've all got customer touch points, they're all talking to people, and they are your best assets in a company. They are who is telling everybody else what is going on, and you want that culture to be embodied in all of those things, and it is almost bigger than a department, and that's what we're trying to
I think that's
get across there.
We're just trying to educate kind of how ubiquitous marketing is within an organisation.
That was a good load of jargon words.
Educate,
ubiquitous. I like it.
But
sounds good.
It should be throughout every single different area.
I think the point I agree with you on is that you never use these words, but I think you use words very similar, is it has to be customer led.
I
think that for me that's is the silver bullet.
Definitely.
And if you can keep yourself grounded in that, but you can market. We're one of the things that we'd like to try and be one day is to have enough expertise to be seen to provide some thought leadership in entrepreneurship. So having learned as much as we've learned in the last 5 years and then beyond, how can we create that thought leadership and actually by doing that raise that profile of our customers throughout that expertise and some of the stories and testimonials that people like yourselves and your achievements and our entrepreneurs and our customers. We help do that through our customers, so that's one of the big areas for us.
I think it is all about customer.
And a lot of it's storytelling.
Of course.
It is. It's storytelling, it's understanding. I mean, the main thing that our customers or our clients is this, and we fall prey to it as well, is that there are so many benefits. What is that one that's going to hit home, and how do you portray all of those different benefits in one succinct line that's going to get someone across, which is, obviously there's pitch training and all that kind of thing, but what is that little nugget that you can share that everybody will understand, that they can then share, and you get that nice ripple effect of things going on. Idealised world, but got to try. So that's what we are looking at, and what, as part of that, we are looking to develop a series of tools, platforms, templates. We're coming up with our own canvas, things like that will try and help keep things as simple as possible for our clients when they are working on their strategy and developing their companies and developing their businesses. So that's our slight shift for the next year. But we have chatted already quite a lot, so we should get some good answers to our questions for today. So there's a couple of new ones in here because we're going to spend a little bit more time on them, but we've got a clock set for 20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
And we're shuffling away, so who knows what we will get. We've got favourites already. Right.
Cool.
I'll let you go first.
When we go first?
Guest first, yeah.
So goal for the week and how I'll measure it is an interesting one. So first week back after the new year, in fact every one of my team, I think bar one, is back to work this week. We try and do things quite, from a communication point of view, quite simply. We have a call on a Monday for half an hour, we have a call on a Wednesday for 15 minutes, and we have a call on a Friday, and we all get together and set the tone for the week, catch up midweek, see how we're doing. But this week I've decided not to have the call today. We've just finished our last board at the end of last year. We've just set our big 5 goals, our vision, which I've talked a little bit about earlier. And we've shared that big 5 with everybody. So my goal for the week is to, on Wednesday, when I've got everybody together on the call for half an hour, is test their knowledge on our big 5.
I like that.
And a bit of a pop quiz, if you like. A bit of a pop quiz where I'll be asking them questions on that call. Tell us a bit about 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, what it means, what are some of the specific actions we've got, what are the outcomes. One of the things we're trying to avoid now is the kind of jargon around KPI, and more around behaviours and outcomes.
So regularly we have KPIs.
So that's my goal for the week, and also how I'll measure it. We'll test them on Wednesday.
That is
Don't tell them, by the way.
Well,
we're
filming this on Tuesday, and it won't be going out till Friday.
Excellent.
So
You're
we're all good.
There you
Still
go.
technically live though, because we just don't edit. Okay, we're going to answer together from now. So we've got New Year resolution. So for us, I suppose it's focus for us,
Definitely.
isn't it?
Yeah.
We did a session between Christmas and New Year because, again, like many entrepreneurs and like most people, you have all of these ideas and you want to be able to do everything.
You can't.
And you can't.
It's the vital few, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So for us, it's focus and keeping things nice and structured and ordered.
Exactly. And it goes back to that kind of inward strategy aspect where we kind of had to sit down and say, right, this is what we've got to do.
Yes.
We're quite good at doing it outwards.
Yes.
If I do say so myself, but looking at it from the other way around, it can be quite tricky. So it's being really focused and
practicing
disciplined.
what we preach.
Practicing
what we preach.
That's a good thing.
It is often more difficult.
You do it with your clients, but actually it's about doing it.
When do you take the time to turn it onto yourself and do that? So that's we did that. We took a day between the holidays.
What about personal?
Personal New Year's resolution. Mine's mostly about family, really, and making sure that we're all spending enough time doing family things.
Yeah, and for me it's not to kind of adhere to the status quo as much, because I feel like sometimes I just go along with things even if I disagree with them, but it's actually kind of speaking out and saying a bit, as opposed to kind of coming back and saying, oh, it's fine, it'll be okay.
Mine's it's a bit similar. Personal one's a bit more present at home. I'm away quite a lot. I travel during the week quite a bit when we've got the 12 hubs across UK. I mean, this is home for me. It's also where I'm based, but I'm probably hardly at this desk in here. So being a bit more present when I am home. And one of the things that my boss has done Christmas, and actually it was really obvious and apparent that he'd done it, is that he went off on the 19th of December, came back on the 4th, and actually wasn't around at all, even on email.
Just switched off.
He's quite active in WhatsApp, not on WhatsApp, and I'm really bad at that.
It's really hard to do. Really,
and I know I've found the screen time limit you can put on your phone now. I've still not cracked it. Because you can go in and it says, can you ignore it for 15 minutes? So I've still not done it yet, but I'm trying really hard. So I'm trying really hard to when I'm there to be present and not be distracted by. And it really is for me. It is my phone. Because my phone has my emails, my WhatsApp, my Twitter.
My son's first full sentence: "Mummy, phone down."
Yeah, it's
a bit worrying, isn't it? All, doesn't it? You're like, oh yeah, okay. It's amazing what you can do on it.
Brilliant. I mean, I've got it's interesting you say that. I've got a really good phrase that I use, and I think that sums up what you just said there. Is that when it comes to kids, they don't listen to what we say; they just watch what we do. And that's a classic example of your son just watching what you do and then repeating it.
Knowing that I'm.
But it's pretty painful.
It is, hearing it. And I can see it now. Like if I'm not paying as much attention, that's when he plays up. If I'm looking at something on my phone, he'll start playing up. Because he knows that.
I need help with that though, because I'm going to find it really difficult to do.
We should do.
But as I say, it was noticeable in my.
I know.
When somebody does it, it's really noticeable. That they've switched off.
And the thing is, when they do switch off, everyone's like, "Damn, I wish I could do that."
I know. Well, I do. I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
Okay, you go.
Oh, most interesting fact. This is one we spoke about earlier.
Glad you got this.
So I'm glad we got this one too. So my mum, and actually me as well, I was 50 last year, sorry. Today is Elvis's birthday. Now what makes me know that, not for the fact that I'm quite a fan, but I'm not that big a fan. He was born in 1935. Is that there was a bit of a conspiracy theory released yesterday saying that they found a recording the experts reckon it's his voice, saying that he faked his own death and he's disappeared for the last however many 30 odd years.
When do they think it was recorded?
I don't know, I can't remember the detail, but they've been voiced, they reckon it's him. He talks about where he's lived and he's found this place that he's been able to hide. He thought he'd been recognised a couple of times. He thinks it's inevitable that he will be recognised, whether you believe these things or not. And he talks about how he's had to disguise himself and grow facial hair and stuff like that. And he's convinced that he'll be recognised, and he's convinced that it'll come out. And the person who was recording him said, "Would you want it to come out?" He said, "I've been away so long, I don't think I would want it to change in any way. I went away for the right reason." So I don't know if that's true or not. The other interesting fact is he's still the highest grossing artist even today, with over 500 million records. So that was the facts that I read yesterday. So there you go.
That is a brilliant fact. And I still there
you go. So the conspiracy theory can rumble on, but look at Twitter. There's a lot been said about it.
I'm going to check.
Check it out.
That'll be our train home watch.
Anything you're looking forward to next week? We've got a really kind of jam-packed week. Next week we're meeting with STV. We'll see you
on
Monday.
Next week's
back in Glasgow.
We're in Tuesday again.
Monday.
We're going in to we've got doing our Friday Live next week with the commercial director of STV.
Which we're really looking forward to. We've also got a meeting with.
We're hoping to get a tour as well.
With some of our clients, Cuckoo.
Yes, so Andrew Johnson, who has been a guest on here and who is one of our clients for Relax, Change, Create. He is launching a new product, and we're going to be, I suppose, testing out one of our new tool canvases that we've created.
Yeah.
We're doing a series. We're working with a few clients to kind of measure how well they work, so that we can prove concept of our own canvas at the moment. So he's coming in to do a workshop on that next week. So that'll be really interesting.
That'll be really good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Be really good. Yeah.
Go again. Word of the week. I think for me, well, I've probably got more than one word if I'm allowed. So it's, you know what it's like. You run really hard and fast towards the tape at the end of the year, and I think your holiday at Christmas can't come quick enough for that little bit of downtime. Even if you're an entrepreneur and you're running your own business, I know that downtime's quite precious, but and you might not get that much downtime actually, especially if you're serving the public over Christmas and you're retailing over the Christmas period. But when you come back, you've got to do it all over again. So that motivation is needed, energy and that pace to get back out of that couple of weeks or week or whatever you've had break is really key. I've been through. We tend to do, this is our time of year where we do end of year reviews, where we spend a lot of time in end of year commentary on personal development plans, supporting our people, and then we do a whole big series around results and pay and reward and stuff like that. And my word this week around all of that has been consistency. So I've got, I'm fortunate enough to work with 61 other individuals who are just brilliant to work with, and the team that I'm fortunate enough to lead. And my word to make sure I do the right thing by them is to be consistent by all of them.
We've got that as one of our boxes in one of our canvases. It's one of the main things about delivering a brand is being consistent.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you are wanting to achieve or wanting to get to or wanting to say, make sure there's consistency around that. And even if it's visual consistency down to colours, logo, positioning, fonts, or if it's through to how you actually carry yourselves as a company and the values that you believe in, keeping them consistent.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's personal stuff comes in there as well, but I agree with that. I agree with that.
Example of a marketing campaign that inspired you or really got attention. So I think the obvious one for this is the Greg's vegan sausage roll.
Good example,
this past week. However, whether anyone agrees with there should be a vegan sausage roll is a different part, but it has definitely
Piers Morgan's helped.
Yes.
Of course he's helped.
He's helped a lot. He's helped Greg's a lot actually as well.
I think by being negative he's actually helped them an awful lot.
It has actually, I think they said that actually in a tweet. I think they thanked him for his,
they did. So they were like, you can have an annual.
I'm going to give you mine actually because I was, you know, the usual John Lewis. I thought the Sainsbury's ad was quite good actually, with the child plugging in the
the child plug.
But do you know the one that really, and I think it's probably because of my favourite Christmas film. Have you seen the Google? The remake of Home Alone, Lost in New York.
That was amazing.
It's my favourite Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And I just thought the remake of it was only about 2 minutes long, I think. Maybe even less than
all
that.
of the scenes that everybody remembers.
The aftershave, bouncing the bed.
And it was funny because I just read like this thing about Home Alone the week before that came out about how it was a very Christmassy house, but who actually has red and green wallpaper? It was like almost the year-round decoration. So I was
I got that one quite late. I don't know how long it's been out, but for me, I thought John Lewis advert was okay. But that, for me, the Google advert stole the show this year.
Oh, definitely. I mean, John Lewis did it every year.
Yeah,
they do.
So
I actually think the way that they timed it, because it was quite late.
I was going to say that. I only saw it quite late.
Yeah, it was literally the week or two before Christmas, whereas most of the Christmas ads start appearing now, early November, and everyone's like, I'm not ready for it yet. But it was quite late when everyone was getting into the excitement they've really understood their target market with that.
If you've not watched it, honestly, Google it, download it, YouTube it, watch it. It's brilliant.
I'm a geek, but I always think when I look at an advert, who are they targeting it at, and have what can you reverse engineer your
pizza
target
online.
audience? Yeah.
We had the devices in the room, going round the room.
But even just down to the age of the audience.
Fantastic.
It's perfect. Just
that was
into
brilliant.
the targeting. Yeah.
Sorry I stole that.
No,
no,
that's good. All good.
Again, good.
goodness, this is one for you two, I think.
Underrated marketing activity.
Underrated marketing activity.
We've discussed this actually quite a lot recently.
So this is the marketing mindset bit, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually probably your people.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah.
So it's back to that storytelling again, but make sure everybody's on message.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's that being able to, I suppose it's communicate from a higher point of view, it's being able to spread that kind of culture.
It's one of my biggest challenges. We've got a huge organisation, as you know, about 65,000 staff, and one of the things I'm really proud of is that we launched our own Entrepreneur Development Academy about 3 years ago, just at the end of October, and we never ever thought it would grow to. It's volunteer basis rather than mandatory. I was under pressure on day one from a lot of colleagues to make it mandatory, and I'm really glad now I resisted. And we've got just over 13,500 staff now who volunteered for that. Yeah. Now, those 13,500 staff can be advocates for what we do, but there are another 52,000 out there. And my biggest challenge is that we're still, in my opinion, still the best kept secret internally and externally in what we do.
Yeah.
So that piece about getting your staff to advocate for you is really key, I think.
Because that passion, those values, you want them to be embodied by everyone that's on your team, and that they can portray them. Essentially, everything that you come up on, I say this all the time, and it's probably like the 6th time I've mentioned it on here, but everything that your company does, kind of, it gives off an impression.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It's the impression that you're.
And always remember that you're in a position to do that as an employee.
Yeah.
But I think you need to know that vision, the strategy, the goals, all the things that underpin that.
Yeah.
Before you can articulate
why those things are there.
Yeah.
Because you can spiel off values to people as much as you want, and they're like, yeah, but it doesn't mean anything to me. Oh, it's got nothing to do with my job. But if you give them the why and the explain and the how this ties to the core and actually how important your position is in amongst all of that, then it kind of empowers your people to be your best advocates.
Yes.
So I think your people are probably your best underrated marketing.
Brilliant. Another good one. Right.
There you go.
There we go. So how have you looked after yourself this week? That is a tricky one actually when I'm thinking about it.
Just after Christmas, did anyone go on the New Year's diet? Have we all decided to
There's
go on
been
the diet?
no New Year's diet.
Good.
If
It wasn't just me.
I've not done dry January yet either.
No, well,
although I know people who are.
Yeah.
Struggling through there a little bit. I would say I've been good going to bed a little bit earlier because I was a bit poorly a little bit before New Year, so I was recovering from that, and I actually my partner's very much into reading, so I've been reading before bed, and that's actually helped.
Yeah,
and it has been marketing literature, but it's been good for the mind.
He's got a book list. I'm like, right, you need to read this.
I'd actually say then, reading and kind of going to bed a little bit earlier,
giving yourself time, I think.
A bit of time. A bit of downtime. So because
that was one of my goals for December from Melinda. So as part of your Entrepreneur Acceleration, you have 3 things that they're going to keep you accountable to, and 2 of them were quite meaty. So the last one, she was like, how are you going to look after you? So it was literally to try and make sure I gave myself
Melinda's
10 minutes time. 10 minutes time. So I'm going to keep.
So I've enjoyed that over Christmas because I think I've probably relaxed more than I know I've relaxed more than I would normally do in a normal week. I'm not going to do dry January, I don't think, but I certainly haven't had anywhere near the amount of food or drink that I had over Christmas and New Year. And that probably started from the 1st, I would say. So far so good. Early beds is a challenge. I'm not an early bedder. In fact, I'll give a bit of a confession from last night. Last night it was about 1:30 in the morning, which is unusual for me. And the reason for it is I could not go to bed without watching the 4 episodes of Luther.
Oh, I've not watched them yet.
I've heard good things.
I've got them all
I wouldn't waste it for you. We had watched 1 episode and we sat down last night to watch what we thought was going to be number 2 and watched 3 and 4 in the next few days. And ended up watching 2, 3 and 4 one after another because I could not go to bed. And then you go to bed and you think, oh goodness, how can I get to sleep now? After watching that, it was pretty scary stuff.
The previous Luthers,
watch it's good.
Oh yeah.
Brilliant.
We could go on forever on Luther, right? Should I ask? Oh, is it your go? Forget.
Key learning.
Why don't we all do this? Key learning.
Okay. So key learning. we like doing key learnings because it's always good to kind of reflect back on things. So I think my key learning, I think it is just taking a step back and practicing what you preach for us, for whether as personally or as a business. Because I'm all, especially talking about mental health, I'm all about look after yourself, give yourself time, but still the worst at doing it. Then when it comes down to giving yourself, looking at the business and going, right, we've got all of these tools that we've created to help other people. We need to run ourselves through them. Yeah. We need to make sure we're as simple as we possibly could be. And yeah, so I think it's
funny. I think, you know, when you say it like that, I think the one I'm going to give you is probably similar, actually, because one of the things I've learned is that you don't have to have we as a bank, we have for years tried to get things perfect, as in it's got to be perfect before you roll it out, it's got to be 100% right before you roll it out.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the things that I think I've learned from many of the entrepreneurs that we support is that actually if it's 70 or 80% right, go with it. And sometimes you kind of jump off that cliff and build the rest of the wings on the way down.
Yeah.
You know, if your gut feels saying you've got this pretty much 60, 70, 80% right, go with it and fix the rest of it. Test and learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably been one of our biggest learnings.
Develop it based on feedback.
Yep.
Actually, what happens when you
practical learning.
Yeah.
Tweak it as you go.
Minimum.
But that's what you do.
Yeah.
And we haven't always done that.
I think when you get to a point as a reputation, a lot of bigger companies are the same. That you get to the point where you're like, we can't put anything out that's not perfect because our reputation's on stake. And how do we do that? So I think it's a challenge for a lot of enterprise.
Good kind of habit to get into as well, because a lot of the kind of people are shifting towards this.
It's interesting. One of the things that we do, it's a program that the banks put all our leaders through, and some of the stuff's quite cliched, and some of it's not for me, and there's some tools and techniques that I really like, but not all of them. But one of them that I do like, and it plays to this conversation, just to top and tail it, is that we do something at the end of every interaction, meeting, transaction, whatever you want to call it, is a more, better, different, less.
Yeah.
So what worked really well that you could do more of? What do you think you could have done better there? What would you have done completely differently?
Yeah.
And the hardest one for me is what do you do less of? Because you always end up loading more on.
Yeah.
You can always think of something you'd have done differently or better. Actually, it's really hard to think of what you'd do, stop doing, or do less of. So that's how we try and do it.
I've seen it doing past. It's almost like a primary school one, but it's 2 stars and a wish.
Simple.
So the two things that you thought were really, really great, and what do you wish could have been changed?
Good, that's a good one.
2 stars and a wish is quite
remember
nice.
that one.
Yeah.
Easy to remember as well.
Yeah.
Good.
What about you? Key learning?
Key learning, very kind of marketing oriented, but it's to consider the challenge as opposed to just where are we now and where do we want to go. It's what do we want to actually overcome. And this comes back to something I've been reading, which is Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, which is a great book, and it kind of outlines that. And I think it's not really pushed in enough in academia. That's the way it really should be done, or potentially even in business. But it's what's the challenge, and then from that you can really kind of dig into how you're going to do it and do it well. And at the time we say it in kind of entrepreneurial and in the teaching that we get through the accelerator. It's what challenge or problem are you solving for a customer? But it's the same fundamental as to what is your strategy for achieving your goal, to achieving your vision. What is the challenge that is stopping you getting there? How do you overcome that? That is the big thing that you need to be working on. And a lot of the time people are just thinking so much about how do I get to the goal? How do I get to the goal? That they kind of almost miss that there's a hurdle there. And there's a reason that you're not there yet. How do you overcome those barriers? What are they? Because identifying them is the first key to it. And it's sometimes the hardest thing. But what are they and how do you get past them? And I'd say just kind of to lead on from that, it would also be to stay away from jargon and fluff.
Fluff.
Because that
it's
I think
fluff.
a lot of the time that can just takes away from your point.
There's some great examples in that book. There's some great examples in that book about there was one about a bank actually that was customer-centric mediation of funds or something, and that, or to be the best at customer-centric mediation of funds, and that was a bank's strategy. You know, like, well, that's actually just fundamentally what a bank does.
Yeah.
So how is that a strategy that's going to get you anywhere? But it was just so many jargony words that was a strategy for a few years before someone went, what does it mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's also not very easy to explain, is it?
No.
Yeah.
And if you're scratching your head, it's the wrong words.
And that's one of the other things that we do, and as part of our kind of one of the things on this canvas and the workshops that we're hopefully going to implement is test. So if we go into a company, let's get everyone to write down what they think the strategy is. Because if you get lots of different people from different parts of the business and say, what do you think this company's strategy is? Whether you're trying to work out from rote what it is or what you actually think is happening, because that's a brilliant test to A, what is happening within your company, B, how well you're seeing that through, and actually if something completely different is going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we totally rambled past the
That's all right.
past the point of the alarm, which we always do. Thank you very much for
enjoyed that.
coming
That
on.
was good.
That was a really good discussion points, and it's been fantastic to hear all of the different bits and
Thanks
pieces
for having
that the
me.
bank are doing. And yeah, as we hinted earlier, we're going over to STV next week, so that'll be an interesting one. And we are looking for a few other guests in the coming year. So if anyone is interested in coming on and joining us for a chat, thinking up some interesting answers and getting involved in some debate off the cuff, let us know. We're always looking for people to chat to. In the meantime, have a fantastic weekend because it's Friday, and we will be back next week. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.